Okay. Go for it. Explain it to us, please.
Right, so we chose to do a crime thriller called Dusk. We believe that doing a crime thriller is a good start because it leaves a lot of deadlines so it can really engage the audience. So it means that there's always question, the audience will never know what's actually going to happen, and that's something that we like. We really want to engage the audience. The synopsis is about a murder that's quite local to this area. It will be filmed in the woods, and it's going to have constant flashbacks between an interrogation by a shady police officer and who's linked with gang trying to... The idea of it is a teenager is murdered who is murdered by a gang. The shady police officer interrogates one of the gang members who is caught. It would be shown through flashbacks of the interrogation, and when he asks a certain question of what happened that night, it'll flash back to that certain moment so the audience will get to see. But the actual character protagonist won't exactly know what's happening.
Okay.
So that leads the element of questioning.
So are we kind of playing on, a little bit on the kind of stereotype of the teenage gang-related killing, and most people will think, oh, that's sad and that's awful and something should be done, but not look into it much further. Is that what we're kind of sort of playing
It's
on that
quite relevant
audience perception?
to the context. Is quite relevant to our time because there's a lot of gang violence. Then would you say there's gangs in nowadays society, so I think that can be quite engage the audience, and that's what we're hoping to do.
I wouldn't say we play on the stereotype too much because we've gone for the audience of 16 to 50s. So there's not too much gore in there, so we can get the lower audiences in. Just trying to play on the mind a bit, so it's get people thinking.
What I meant by that was that quite often, as in, they play on the audience, but in terms of the audience's perception of, oh, this is initially just a kind of gang-related teenage killing, and then obviously there's more to it than that, as you're saying, with the corrupt police officer. Or I didn't quite understand that bit. Why is the police officer corrupt?
He bends the rules, basically. So
to get the results that he wants, or to get...
So he has good intentions,
okay.
but it's done by bending the rules of it. So
Okay.
Purely for entertainment purposes.
It's to show a bit of what if he was to bend them too far. Is his job on the line? Is this what stakes are involved? It's just all to build tension in deadlines, basically. I think with crime thrillers, timing. Will he get it found in time? Will he find it? We want to create a lot of questions and enigmas that are really
good. Okay, so you got your what if premise. If you could just kind of read that to us, please.
Do you want to do this one?
Yeah. I'll read what we've put out. I put, what if a teenage murder wasn't as it seemed? A young person is being murdered for the reason that the detectives uncover, or is it? So it may lead to a switch in the last moments, whilst the murderer leads them off in different directions. Could it be an inside job? Could it be the team's best friend? Will we find out? Who knows?
So we've got a kind of, if you like, with a local context, and with, like say, a little bit of reflecting the zeitgeist of some things that are going on. We've got the kind of ingredients of a kind of classic whodunit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you talk us through your taglines? You've got a choice there. What are you thinking about these taglines?
Well, what really goes on that is probably my favourite because it relates to the title of Dusk. Dusk is the time of the day where I'd say crime is probably at the highest because it's easier to get away with because of obviously the low lighting. So that's when the actual crime is going to be filmed at night or early hours of the morning. This is just creating this, like, make it harder for the detective because it is harder to find out evidence at night due to like evidence of CCTV.
I really like your title, and I think obviously, as I said, I think you thought of the kind of conventional aspects of it, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah. In terms of how it's going to look, so your visual realisation, how do you want this film to look?
So we're going to start off with quite a dark room, nice and compact. Person's strapped to the chair, the gang member that's been caught, and it's going to start off with a slam on the table. That's to quickly get the audience's attention. Then it's going to go with the detective into the room, laying out the files, general shot, reverse shot. Every time he pulls out a photo of what he's found from the scene of where it's going to have a flashback to that moment. We have an idea of doing point of view shots, so it gives the impression of what the criminal was thinking in that instinct. So we're going to have one of them getting out of the car, one of him getting a bat out the boot, one of them following the girl, and when it flashbacks to the girl, it's going to have her point of view of how things happen. It just really wants to engage the audience and show the emotions of what the characters were feeling when it happened. And it's just going to be continuous, and there's going to be tension, suspense that builds up as the conversation goes through and more gets revealed. But we're not going to reveal everything.
Yeah.
Obviously.
The first 2 minutes. Okay, you clearly thought through kind of how you're going to make it look and how you're going to sort of put in a few, as you said, enigmas to start with, and a few sort of red herrings and suggestions and everything else like that, which is great. My fear is this might end up looking a bit too much like a trailer.
Yeah.
How are we going to stop it looking like a trailer?
Because the person that's being interrogated is only a small, or she has a small role in this gang.
Yeah.
He's only, say, like a henchman, and the detective's intentions is to find the boss, and that would be just a short little look. This is where we're starting. This is what he's hoping to find. This is only a small little blip. It's not to find out the murder of the girl. We just say intention is to stop these crimes, because the actual murder will be done by numerous criminals, but he's the only one that's been caught.
Okay.
I think we'd like to use, like, to avoid the trailer, like you said. A lot of films with the conventions use like quick montages at the beginning to show what's going to happen in brief, but doesn't give too much away. So I think if we use montage in quick succession, I think it shows that it shows an unsettled mood, and that's what we're going for as well. So
Okay.
So there's more to come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I can see a couple of issues around lighting.
Right.
In terms of, I mean, I guess the bit you're talking about in the opening few minutes, a lot of it you're going to film indoors. Yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
The actual, say the murder scene, we filmed it woods, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just because it's quite remote, there's a sense of fear. Right.
You may have to really think through and go and do a bit of practice with lighting, because it is tricky to, like you say, it would be great that it all fits in with your idea of your film, but it is tricky to film at night. We haven't quite got the lighting capacity to do that, and sometimes it can end up just looking quite grainy and, you know, not quite what you intended.
Thought about that. If it doesn't exactly come out the way we want, we're always going to try and use colour correction, just to give it a bit of a brightness effect, maybe lower the saturation of it.
Yeah, that is one option. Okay. Any questions, Mrs. Rogers?
I'm just interested, where did you get kind of this idea from? Have you watched any films in particular?
Seven, I'd say, is probably the most relevant.
Most influential.
But we don't want to start it with your common, look, this is the investigation scene. We want it to be straight in your face. What's going off here? We want the audience just to be like, I don't understand.
Okay.
How do you think, if he was a corrupt police officer, how do you think, especially nowadays, how do you think they would sort of scare the teenage gang member? Bear in mind they're bending the rules. How do you think they'd scare them nowadays?
I'd say, sorry, I'll let you talk, Rob.
I'd say, to be honest, in my opinion, I think a regular police officer to gangs, they're not going to be bothered about, because that's what they encounter every day, stereotypically. So I think if we use the corrupt police officer, I think we might be able to play on it a little bit there.
So what sort of characteristics are you going to use to show that this character is a bent police cop? What sort of characteristics is he going to possess?
sense of he likes to be alone a lot of the time.
Work alone, almost
Yeah.
like without accountability.
Yeah, his sense of aggression, but also he snaps, mood swings. It's one thing that we're really wanting to show. How he can be calm 1 minute, snap, and come
It's
back
kind
to
of-
be calm.
Sort of. So basically,
He plays a role of a good cop and a bad cop, but
Like
you never
himself.
Yeah.
you never know which one he's going to be.
Okay.
One of the ways in which, just as an idea, one of the ways I think if you did have a police officer who behaved in that way, I think that what they would have on a lot of teenagers nowadays would be around things like their internet use, their mobile phone records.
Okay.
You know, so I think something where they can kind of scare them into something like about that. You know, you do realise that you know we've read all your emails, we've read all your sort of. You think they're encrypted, these messages. And they might even present something, and which is going to make the teenager think, "Oh God, they know everything."
Yeah.
Certainly have the capabilities, but guidelines around how they might use it. But if somebody's going to bend the rules a little bit, that might be something which that teenager, rather than, as you said, is quite used to perhaps encounters with the police, so doesn't fear the police in that way.
Yeah.
So it might be other ways in which they might fear them. So you might want to think about that in terms of how you do it. In terms of your audience appeal, who do you think it will appeal to, and why?
I think from 16 upwards, I think, because if we're using people sort of our age, it's going to appeal to our age. I think that if we do it right, I think it could be done well to make that target audience quite high as well, to get some more coverage from that.
I think the characters all represent a certain type of age in a way. So we could talk about the gang members represent a stereotypical rundown society within that age, and then say the policeman who's older, maybe more wise, could represent the older gender on a stereotypical basis. That is. I think what we're trying to get out is something that appeals to a large, wide audience, but I think we're going to do that through a lot of enigmas, and we're trying to make it something quite unique.
Okay.
I feel quite positive about this one.
I feel very positive
I
about
really
it.
like the idea of how you could manipulate your detective to almost like be an intern or good cop, bad cop. I think if you played with shots, like lots of close-ups, lots of subtleties, just to sort of depict the type of man that your detective is, I think that would work really well.
I think something along the lines as well, you could perhaps play with it a little bit in terms of, with your use of flashbacks and those kind of things. Something which shows the police officers to be quite widely respected within the police force. I don't know how you might show that, but something which could show that, without it, again, lapsing into trailer sort of thing, but something which kind of shows, that he's he's got a lot of trust placed in him. In terms of believability, your police officer, who's it going to be?
Have you thought about who's going to
In terms
play?
of casting, have you thought of that? In terms of who's going to play it, or him?
Not really
And
sure
how?
about how he's going to be represented,
Okay.
who's going to play him yet, but I'm
So-
sure that won't
So
be.
that's quite an important point
Yeah.
to consider.
Yeah.
If that's who you're saying is representing your older age group,
Maybe someone a bit older.
Yeah.
that's what I'd go for. But I feel positive about this one. I'm
Absolutely.
happy to push it through.
Absolutely, but and again, also with just go back to the police officer, you might want to have a look at, and we'll come up with some. I know there are kind of like agencies that do this. You might even want to look at using a sort of amateur / professional actor, which presents its own challenges because they don't want to be messed. They don't want to be messed around, But they will quite often for credits. A lot of people will give their time for free, so it might be worth having a look into. Because you could get somebody who could really carry that role. I've seen some other schools do it. Yeah, it's quite
Sounds
interesting.
good.
Yeah, but we'll have a look into that. But then obviously that comes with its own issues.
Yeah.
But it might be worth thinking about casting when it comes to that. And don't ask me. All right.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Yeah, we'll give
Thank
this
you.
one a go ahead. Green light.
Green light.
Green
Go,
light.
Go.
Cheers.
Thank you.